Hey guys, today we're talking photographic portfolios and we're going to look at what your options are, how much it's going to cost you and which system I think is the best. When it comes to portfolios, you've got three main options and you must choose wisely before you invest too much time and effort in the wrong system. Your three options are this. You can go the free route, you can go the subscriber hosted route, or you can go the full-blown hosted domain route. So I'm going to break down the options you have in those three categories and we'll kick things off with the bargain basement free options. So when it comes to the free tier, you have two basic options within that. Firstly, you can go social media, or secondly, you can go photo sharing. So obviously one of the best things about social media is its reach. These websites have absolutely millions and millions of people, and it's possible to put your photographs on the screens, on the smartphones of millions of people all over the world. Unfortunately, that massive reach and the fact that they're free doesn't really make up for the fact that you have absolutely no control over your content or the design of your page or even anything like the compression levels of the photographs that you're uploading there. If the powers that be at Facebook decide one day that you've done something wrong and they're going to pull the pin on your Facebook page or your Instagram feed, then there's absolutely bugger all you can do about it. The price you pay for the reach you get on those websites is completely surrendering control of every facet of your content to Mr. Zuckerberg and his friends. Another big disadvantage of social media is that you cannot use your own domain. You are stuck with whatever username you came up with, and if you made it up sort of 12 or 14 years ago, the odds are it's not very flattering, and so you're stuck with that. You have no control over the layout of the photographs on your Facebook page or in your Instagram feed, and you have no control over the compression that is being applied to the photographs. Also, you may cross a line and upload something that's considered a bit risque and incur the wrath of the powers that be at these websites. If you really don't want to pay for your photo portfolio, then another option is a photo sharing site of the likes of 500px and DeviantArt and Flickr. Now these are obviously a much better option, but the drawback of them is that you surrender the aforementioned reach that you have on Facebook or Instagram. And because these photo sharing websites were set up with the express purpose of showcasing images, they do a pretty good job of it. Your portfolio on Flickr will look quite nice. You get that nice photo stream with all the different tiles of your images, and you've got the lightbox effect if you click on them. The compression level of the images that you upload to Flickr, etc. will also be much more desirable than those that you upload to Facebook, which, let's face it, look like they were a fax sent to and from Sweden 3 times. If you're going to be giving people the address of your portfolio, then I have to say it looks a lot better to give them a Flickr address than, say, a Facebook page, but there's not much in it, to be honest. On these photo sharing sites, you also have no control over the layout. If you don't like that sort of masonry tile grid effect that they have on Flickr, then tough shit, that's all you're going to get. The other problem, of course, is that Flickr, DeviantArt, 500px and all the rest of these photo sharing websites are independent companies and they could pull the pin on your account at any time, just as it can on Facebook. So on the free tier of the photo sharing websites, also you can't use your own domain. You're going to be stuck with whatever convoluted URL or username you come up with. And the other thing with photo sharing websites is, of course, that a lot of them do the old bait and switch scheme whereby they lure you in with a free bit of space on their website and then they tempt you with all these added extras, you know, analytics or use your own domain and all the other stuff. And before you know it, you're paying a subscription for a service. And I think if you're going to start paying for these things, you can do a lot better than a pro account on Flickr. Okay guys, on to option 2, and that is subscriber hosted services. Now these subscriber hosted services are kind of a middle ground in between photo sharing sites like Flickr on the pro level and having your own bit of web space. They sit in a cozy middle area where you can apply some design yourself, but you don't really have full control over everything. The kind of sites I'm talking about are Squarespace and Zenfolio and Wix and Weebly and all these other sites where you pay a monthly fee, you get a kind of design system, WYSIWYG, drag and drop, and you can create your portfolio online using their systems. And I would just like to take this opportunity to say that this video is not sponsored by Squarespace, although I will be talking about their service. All of the subscriber hosted sites have a monthly fee, usually ranges between $30 and $70 depending on the bells and whistles you want. And for that you get some space on their server, you get the promise of good uptime, you don't have to worry about things like backups, and you get a nice simple drag and drop interface to create your portfolio. All of these companies offer a kind of bolt-on system where you pay for a basic package which gives you the space and access to the theme and design tools. And then if you want and you need things like e-commerce or your own domain and all that kind of stuff, then you can pay extra down the line. And I'd say that subscriber hosted services were definitely a better option than going for something like a photo sharing site, but there's not much in it. Now I understand why people sign up with Squarespace. It's the path of least resistance, and I'm certainly not taking the high ground on that front. I did exactly the same thing myself. For several years I had my own Zenfolio account, and the same thing that attracted me to it is what attracts everyone else to it. It's simple. You upload your photographs, they've got a nice little theme and design system, and it's very simple to get your photographs online with no programming knowledge or design chops required. So the drawbacks, as far as I can see, on sites like Squarespace and Zenfolio is that yes, you can use a nice theme, and yes, your photographs might look nice, but they'll look exactly like thousands of other websites because the same people that are subscribing to Squarespace and Zenfolio as you have access to exactly the same themes. And so if you're happy for your portfolio to look like that of 1,000 other photographers all over the world, then great, Squarespace is the site for you. So if you're a complete novice and you have absolutely no knowledge of web design whatsoever, and maybe no desire to acquire that knowledge, then you know what? It's fine. Squarespace is a good, safe option. There's nothing inherently bad about it. There are a few drawbacks, which I'll explain in a second, but on the whole, it's not a bad option. One of the principal drawbacks of sites like Squarespace and Zenfolio is that they're still independent companies run by some third party, and you are putting all your hopes and dreams on that company. They could go bust, or for whatever reason, they could shut down your account. If you decide to move on from Squarespace and perhaps have a full-blown website in the future, then it's also worth pointing out that it's quite tricky to get your stuff off it, which isn't a huge issue if we're just talking photographs, but if you've written a lot of content on there to go along with it, you might find it quite difficult to get it out and reincorporate it into another site. Because there's no free tier on Squarespace or Zenfolio, you get quite a few little extras from the outset, and it's possible to use your own domain. If you do choose to have a Zenfolio or Squarespace account, I strongly suggest you do that. Get your own domain. Then when you're building up traffic on Google, it's with your domain, not some weird URL that points to some space on Squarespace. Domains are cheap and you have full control over them, and if you want, you can point that domain somewhere else in the future. The other advantage of Squarespace and Zenfolio and all those other sites is that you don't have to worry too much about uptime or backups. That's taken care of with your monthly subscription fee. One thing to bear in mind if you are going to go with a subscriber hosted service is that they do not tend to do as well in the search engines as full-blown bespoke websites. These services have got a bit better and they do provide some basic SEO, search engine optimization tools in their accounts, but you'll be able to get nowhere near the results that are possible with a full-blown website. And if indexing well in Google is important to you, perhaps because photography is not just a hobby but a business, then doing well in Google is absolutely crucial. So if your competitor in town has a website and you have Squarespace space, then the odds are he's probably going to do better than you in Google. Okay guys, that brings us round to our third option, which is having a full-blown website on your own web space with your own domain. So the main advantage of going this route is that you have full and complete control over every single aspect of your online portfolio, from the domain name all the way through to the website design, how it does in the search engines, everything that's attached to the website, even the email addresses. You have full and complete control over everything. Having your own website means that you can make it look exactly the way you want with no compromises. You don't have to take some off-the-shelf theme. You can roll your own, make your own bespoke design and style it up exactly the way you want. The best option for getting your own website is to use Wordpress, which is a free content management system which powers an amazing 37% of all the websites on planet Earth. I've been using WordPress for a couple of decades now, and I've seen it mature into an extremely flexible system which is very easy for complete novices to use. But if you want to get down into the nuts and bolts of things, down into the code, then you can do that too. There are a dizzying array of plugins and add-ons available for WordPress, and pretty much anything you want to do, you can. If you want to have a direct connection between your print store on your website and your bank, then you can do it. You're not stuck with just Stripe and PayPal as many of the subscriber hosted services offer. If you want to incorporate your social media feed into your website, then you can do that too. If you want to create a community on your website and have a forum, then you can do that too. The options are almost limitless. If you're a professional photographer or just a serious hobbyist wanting to make a little bit of money on the side, then obviously your search engine rankings are absolutely crucial. And far and away the best way to index well in Google is to have your own website and your own domain, and to optimize it correctly and to set it up so that it indexes well. There are many free plugins that can help you get that good search engine ranking too. I've used a plugin called Yoast in the past, which is free on the basic level, has some extra versions in the Pro that you can get, but I've used the simple free version for many years and it has served me well. And if you want to improve your website, then one of the best ways to do that is to track the analytics via a system like Google Analytics, and incorporating all that stuff into your own website is extremely easy. So I guess the main reason people don't go for a full-blown website is because they're scared that they will not be able to create their site and to manage it. And that is certainly not the case in this day and age. When it comes to web hosting, there are many companies who will sell you server space at a very reasonable fee, say $20 to $30 a month for a basic package, and they are perfectly suited to running a WordPress website. WordPress is extremely easy to use these days, and if you're just starting out, you can use the simple blocks system, which is similar to the sort of system that you find on Squarespace, where you can just drag stuff around the page and style it up with word processor style icons, and just drag in your images and all that kind of stuff. You can pair that block system with a very simple and usually free theme, and then you can start tailoring the site to look the way you want. One of the things a lot of people who are new to WordPress do is use a third-party page builder. These are applications which give you a very simple drag and drop interface, and they're fine, they're good, but they produce quite bloated websites that do not tend to index as well in Google because they take up a lot more space, they are slower to load, and Google penalises you for that. You can get good page builders that produce nice, streamlined and speedy websites, page builder like Oxygen, but in all honesty, they are not for complete novices. In terms of web spaces and domains, all of that stuff is very simple these days. It used to be quite tricky, but it isn't any longer. It's very simple to buy a domain with an address you like and to buy a hosting package that is very easy to manage. They use a system called cPanel, which makes it very simple to upload your website and to manage things like your email addresses and add-on domains and that kind of stuff. So having heard all that, which option do you think is best? Now, personally, I like having complete control over this stuff. I do not like putting my destiny in the hands of some dude at Silicon Valley. I want to have control over this stuff. I want to control my website and domain, and so having my own bespoke website that I created, which I manage, is far and away the best option for me. Yes, you have to get your hands a bit dirtier when you're having your own website, but honestly, this day and age with WordPress and the block system the way it is, there really is not much in it. And if you are thinking about setting up a Squarespace website, I suggest you go and put a free account on somewhere like WordPress.com, which is the subscriber version of WordPress websites, and you can set up a test site there, have a play around with it, and you might surprise yourself and find that actually it's a lot simpler to get a really nice looking website up and running using WordPress than you'd envisaged. However, if you really do want the absolute easiest option, then something like Squarespace is definitely your best bet. In the current climate, I think you'd be absolutely crazy to pin all your hopes and dreams on social media. Facebook can shut down your account anytime. Ditto, your Instagram account can get shut down anytime. And if you've invested all your time and energy into that service and that system and they pull the plug, then you've lost everything. So that's it, guys. Those are my views on photographic portfolios. Which system do you use? Now, I've got a full-blown WordPress website and I'm quite proud of it. I recently redesigned it and I'm going to do some future videos about setting that site up. I moved from the Elementor page builder that I mentioned to another page builder called Oxygen, and I've got a much faster and much nicer looking website now. I'm going to be talking about that in a future video. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed it, please hit the old like and subscribe button, and I'll catch you on the next one.